Look, there's no question about it. Cristiano Ronaldo should
Why
have
did they
started
sign
the game.
Ronaldo? Why did they sign
Cristiano
Ronaldo?
Ronaldo should have started
Why
the
did
game.
they sign
A
Ronaldo?
player like Cristiano Ronaldo should have started that game. Welcome to the Anglo-Italian Pod, ladies and gentlemen. That was a quick reenactment of possibly the funniest bit of international TV that we were blessed with on a rainy Sunday in Milan. No, not even rainy. It was pretty. Was it?
It was a beautiful Sunday in Milan.
It was a beautiful Sunday in Milan. God, I'm so used to the rain that now I think every day is rainy. Welcome to the Anglo-Italian Pod, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I'm Tommaso. I'm joined by my friend Ruairi, and you can find us on Instagram at Anglo-Italian Pod, on Twitter at Italian Anglo Pod, and you should also give a follow to our sponsor at Sports Club Maps. We've got plenty of things to talk about today. A lot of things that I'm excited about in Serie A, but we're going to start from the Premier League. And where should we start from, if not from the Jamie Carragher and Roy Keane debate on television following Manchester United and Chelsea's 1-1 draw? Now, Rory, what do you think of that debate? Who do you side with?
I actually think Jamie Carragher was 100% right, and he actually put Keane in his place. He got Roy Keane to admit that Man United are a cup side. Like, that's pretty big. And like, Roy Keane was like, well, of course we're not going to win the league. No, we're never going to win the league. Like, we won't win the league in the next couple of years. We're going to win an FA Cup. And Jamie Carragher was like, and that's what you're happy about, just winning an FA Cup. And then he had to just accept it. And it's like, but Jamie Carragher was spot on with what he was saying. You only sign players like Ronaldo and Varane to win now. That's not a long-term view. That is, these are coming here now to win trophies. There's no other reason to sign them. And yes, Steve, you're right. Hasselbank in the middle was just a big smile on his face, like watching two parents fucking argue, and he just sat there laughing. It was brilliant, but I think Carragher was absolutely spot on. Like, I'm Roy Keane. I love Keane as a pundit. And I think he's been quite good with United in general, but sometimes he finds it difficult to remove that United legend filter, and sometimes he does get found out a little bit. But Carragher was fantastic. And look, that's what Sky Sports want, just box office moments of people screaming at each other, even if Jamie Carragher's voice probably set off all the dogs within a 500-mile radius. Like,
the accent, I wish I could do. I'm pretty good with Italian accents, but with English, I can barely speak with a proper accent.
Well, you've just heard my Scouse accent, and it's not great. It's not great.
Was that an impression you were making?
That wasn't it. That wasn't just my arguing voice. But
so do you think that this is what's going to happen? We're going to see Ronaldo on the bench more and more and more comes Rangnick to the Manchester United bench?
Look, I think last night was a clear, like, that was not Michael Carrick's team, right? That was like literally the same system that Rangnick played when he was at RB Leipzig. It was like a 4-3-3, 4-4-2 diamond type thing. So Fernandes was kind of dropping deep and pushing forward with Sancho and Rashford out wide. And I think the system, as we know with Rangnick, it all depends on pressing. Now, obviously, this United team haven't been coached in pressing yet. I think the memo they got was pressing just meant go around and foul everyone because they got fucked on a yellow cards. But I think, obviously, that system depends on everybody doing it. And Ronaldo, even when he came on, he doesn't press, right? Or he thinks it's beneath him, whatever it is. He just doesn't do it. And even the last minute chance that Rudiger probably should have scored. I think it's Ziyech who puts the ball in, and Ziyech only gets there because Ronaldo doesn't track the runner. Like, so even in that short time that Ronaldo was on, his lack of sticking to the system nearly cost them like a point, right? And I think Rangnick is definitely a big enough personality and a big enough person within the game that if he drops Ronaldo, it wouldn't be a huge issue. And I think actually for the team, it could be better. We've seen with Portugal that they, in general, play better when he's not on the pitch, but you can bring him on and rely on him to score, and he'll probably score. I think that might be the role we see him play. And at 36, that's not bad, really. I don't think it's like it'll be blown up in every paper on Sky Sports every time he's not in the team. They'll be banging on about it, but I don't think it's that big a deal.
The thing I think is that Cristiano Ronaldo, and we've seen it over and over again in the Champions League in Serie A last year, he's a player that just bags goals. And Manchester United kind of desperately need goals. But at the same time, when you play Ronaldo, as you were saying, you have to change your system. And often the system is not the system that you play with Ronaldo is not the most beneficial for the team. Now, I just think that this lineup that Manchester United adopted against Chelsea makes a lot of sense. You've got 3 holding midfielders and a more creative player, which is McTominay. Among him, Matic and Fred, I think it goes without saying that it's McTominay. But you've got this sort of like dam in front of your defense, and it makes sense. Now, could there be a place for Ronaldo as a starter in this team? I think so. Maybe replacing replacing Sancho. But at the same time, I think it could be good also to start, which is funny because Ronaldo has just literally just signed for Manchester United. Start planning ahead for when Ronaldo is not going to be there anymore. And your starters up front are going to be Rashford and Sancho.
Well, exactly. And they do need to look like this is a project. Everybody's accepted now that United aren't going to win in the immediate future. So you have to take the long-term view and you have to be like, right, start players like Greenwood and start players like Sancho who are going to be there for the next 5, 6 seasons, 10 seasons, whatever it is. If you know what I mean, like you need to put the blocks in place now. And Sancho had an unbelievable game because he finally was in a role that he was familiar with, and he had people making runs off him. And like he got the goal. It was fortunate, but it was a great finish. Rashford was shocking for that. He remained offside the entire time, and kept asking for the ball. And Sancho was like, "I can't give you the ball," but he managed to put it away. I think Ronaldo could definitely do that role, but like we've said, he's just not that team player. He's not. He never has. He never has been. So you can't expect him to change his spots. Like
Ronaldo plays for Team Ronaldo. Yes, I do think so. Also, we're going to get into that, but you also see some of the Cristiano Ronaldo psycho sides if you watch the Amazon Prime documentary Juventus or nothing. But it's not everything is not rosy at Chelsea either. Where after the game, Thomas Tuchel said that. If it had been for him, he wouldn't have even played Lukaku. He said, Lukaku, when he's fit, he's a starter. He's clearly not fit. I had to play him because we were very close to the opposition's goal, and they thought that he could help us, but he shouldn't get used to this. Wow. Cristiano, maybe Romelu Lukaku and Antonio Conte were a match made in heaven. With all the diets that he was following and everything, maybe Italy was the place for him to stay. Rom, miss us yet? We don't, but it's just funny that I don't know. I
feel like there's almost a psychological thing with Rom in the Prem now, and I think it's like I would have loved for him to come on and score against United because it would have been a big, not only because it would have been against United, but it would have been a big statement for him, a big moment, a big like fuck you to his past team. But I think he looked way off it. And I think when Tuchel says he didn't want to play him, he didn't want to play him because he's not fully fit. He didn't want to have to play him. He hoped that the game would be won by that point. And now he's like, okay, well, fuck, we're going to have to throw him on. We need a goal. But Chelsea, like, the first half was ridiculous. Like, I saw that in the opposition first half touches, right? So first half touches in the opposition half, right? Callum Hudson-Odoi had 20. Ziyech had 17. Alonso 16. Man United had 14. So like the first half was like just camped in United's half. And Chelsea really like they're not very efficient in front of goal, even though they've been putting 4 goals past teams.
Yeah, they're the second best attack in the league at the moment, yeah.
But the second they come up against a in quotes proper team, they do like Liverpool. They didn't really break them down. Granted, they had someone sent off that kind of changed the game. But United, they weren't able to. Arsenal, they obviously got 2 because we're not quite a proper team yet. But I feel like when it comes to like big games, they get a little bit inefficient in front of goal. Werner was just runs around a lot, but very ineffective again. And for Chelsea, they should have had that game wrapped up in the first half. Like, I can't believe they didn't.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats too. 2.51 XG for Chelsea and 0.73 for Man United. Yeah. 505 completed passes for Chelsea, and half, I would say, less than half for Manchester United. And then in the end, 66% versus 34% ball possession. So a pretty one-sided game.
And this is it. And this is like, even the way United approached the game, like, look, they got the point and it was a good, disciplined performance, right? But the way they set up, no Man United team should be going anywhere and going, right, let's just get out of here with a point. Like, this is, Man United love to go on about they're the biggest club in the world, they're the biggest club in England, whatever. Well, you need to play like it. You can't be playing how Stoke would play when they turn up to Stamford Bridge. You need to be kind of trying to stamp your impression on the game, and they just didn't at all. The back 4 and then that basically back 3 in front of them just meant that Chelsea were never going to get through. The midfield for me was interesting though, because I think actually despite missing a massive chance with a really pathetic shot, Fred actually had a pretty good game. He played a bit more advanced, so he wasn't like the holding midfielder. That wasn't his job. He was able to just run and press and kind of be a bit more dynamic. And he actually had a really good game. And I feel like maybe we might see a better side of Fred once someone else is asked to do that defensive job, because that's not what he's about. So there were some good individual performances, but United, Chris has just said it, total smash and grab from United, like boring. It was terrible, but forget Arsenal did the same thing last year and got a 1-0 win. Like, so I enjoyed that, so I can't slag off United for it too much.
Just one quick little stat. Over the last 10 games, Manchester United have won only 3. They've lost 4, and they've drawn another 3. With the players that they have, this is pretty embarrassing for me. They desperately need a manager, somebody who sits down, thinks of a system. Maybe they finally got it. Because with this squad, having this type of results is absolutely embarrassing.
Well, I just want to quickly talk about this because I put something on Twitter this weekend and it's confusing me. People at the same time are saying this United squad needs rebuilding, the defense isn't good enough, the midfield isn't good enough, like this isn't a team. And then on the same hand saying they've got one of the best squads in the league. It's like, well, which one is it? Like either they've got a great squad and they should be doing better, or the squad needs improving. It can't be both, right? And I think there's a lot of average players in that squad. I think Wan-Bissaka is really average, especially defensively. He gets caught out of position constantly. I think Maguire is average. I think Matic is too old. Lindelof has got a mistake in him. Luke Shaw's form has dropped off a cliff. And you're like, is this squad that good? Or are there just some very good players in the attack? Like, I don't think, because even before the game, some of the pundits were saying this squad can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the league. I was like, no, it can't. No, it cannot. Put United's squad up against City's and see who's his best. Like, it's not even close.
But before we move on to a team that you thoroughly want to talk about, because on Thursday we've got Arsenal taking on the mighty Red Devils. Let's talk about the teams that actually won and cut the lead from the top. I'm talking about Man City, who are now 1 point behind Chelsea up top in the Premier League, and Liverpool, who are sitting third, only 2 points behind. Now, Liverpool won their game against Southampton 4-0, and Manchester City defeated, we're sorry, Tom, the mighty Hammers 2-1 at home. Now, let's talk about Liverpool, Rory. You were giving me a nice little stat about their goal scorers this season.
So, 3 of the top 4 scorers in the Premier League now are all Liverpool players, and they're all the Liverpool attack, right? So I think Salah is on 11, Mane is on 7, and Jota is on 7. The only one poking in there is Jamie Vardy with 9. I think we might have time to talk about him later. But that just shows you how terrifying this Liverpool attack is. And I think they were ahead against Southampton within 3 minutes.
Yeah, they were 1-0 after 2 minutes. Yeah, 1-0.
It was really very quick. It was 3-0 in the first half, game over. Southampton made it very easy. It was like they were like training cones half the time. Like Ralph Hasenhüttl was fuming at the end. But it was just a performance again where you're like, oh Christ, Liverpool are so scary. Like I think I've used the metaphor before, but like City, I feel like is death by 1,000 cuts. Like they just slowly kill you, right? Whereas Liverpool is like someone hitting you around the head with a hammer. It's just it's so fast and violent and like effective. You just can't keep up with it.
The chat is getting lively with Liverpool fan Chris Hamilton commenting, yes, after 2 minutes we were up 1-0. Laughing emoji, like, yes, we're the best. But just to give you a comparison between a performing team and the non-performing team, which is Manchester United, over the last 10 games, Liverpool have won 8, drawn 1, and lost 1 on to West Ham. This is a seriously dangerous team for the Premier League. Might as well be one of the favorites. If it wasn't for Man City also having quite a run and defeating 2-1, the Hammers, who are currently sitting on 4th position in the league on even points with the mighty Arsenal. Did you get to watch the Man City-West Ham game?
I did, and friend of the show, Tom, was at the stadium. It looked absolutely freezing. The snow was ridiculous first half, but I do love football in the snow. Always looks incredible. I did enjoy watching the ball. Just, you could see the lines where the ball was going across the pitch. I really enjoyed it. But Man City were just all over West Ham in this. They could not get out of their own half. It was 2-0. It could have been a lot more. Lanzini scored an absolute blinder with the last kick of the game. But yeah, just Man City again after midweek games against PSG, which is not an easy game, right? To just, with the conditions against a very good in-form West Ham team, to just get the job done is just really impressive. And I think it just shows how, I talked about it last episode, that they're just hitting their efficient mode. They're just hitting their stride of where they're just going to get 3 points. No matter how, they will find that goal. They'll get that moment that wins them the game. And I think they just look efficient. And you're right with Liverpool. They're basically the favourites. But as we've said, and we keep mentioning it, AFCON, I think, is going to screw them. Like, they're the team. Like, Chelsea lose Mendy, City lose Mahrez, but Liverpool lose everyone, right? And I feel like that's going to be the moment. But City looks scary again. And
again, same record as Liverpool over the last 10 games across all competitions. 8 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. Do you think it's going to be a 3-horse title race until the end of the season? Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool? Can Arsenal get in there?
Not quite. I think it's going to be, 3 of them, and it'll go down to the final 3 fixtures, I'm going to say. Final 2 fixtures. I think it'll go right to the wire. Nice.
But Rory, it's finally time. We've covered the first 4 teams in the league, which are Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, West Ham. Now it's time to unveil the red carpet and talk about a team that Rory has often refused to talk about this season. Guys, if you listen to the pod often, you will notice that I often say, come on, Rory, give us your 2 cents on Arsenal. And it's like, it's too soon, it's too late, it's blah, blah, blah. But now I know that you finally want to talk about them Gunners. Rory, serenade us with your opinions before you take on Manchester United.
No, this is really dangerous because I'm choosing to talk about how positive I am about the team just before we go away to Old Trafford.
I love it, dude. I love it. Confidence. I'm growing a confidence about Inter Milan. I want you to do the same about Arsenal. It changes your life. Trust me. It changes your life.
It's been so long, Tommy. I've forgotten how it is to be positive.
Trust me. It's going to work.
Look, this game was like, okay, I need to prefix all of this with, it was against Newcastle, the only team left in England yet to win a game this season. But there was a few performances that really stood out to me. So Tavares and Sambi Lokonga were 2 of the players that had absolute shockers against Liverpool, right? Tavares gives the ball away for Liverpool's second goal. Sambi Lokonga in the beginning of the second half has an absolute shocker, gives away the ball 5 times. But Arteta sticks with him. And in this game, Tavares was chaos, but he was crazy effective. And Lokonga was the most creative player on the pitch. Now, I've talked about him before. These are 2 players that we didn't expect to be starters. We didn't expect to really see them that much this season. And they've become pretty key players. Like, Tavares is keeping Tierney out of the squad. Now, if you watched us last season, to think Kieran Tierney isn't a starter, that is insane. That's how good this guy's done. Now, I think he's still running. The guy never stops running. He's up and down that pitch forever. He causes all sorts of problems. The only thing is he got the memo from Thomas Partey about shooting from anywhere. He needs to stop that, and then he'll actually be a decent player. But I think the wing backs we have, Tavares and Tommy,
shooting off target from any
position, mate, into the upper clock end. It is the top tier. It's going anywhere. But the 2 wing backs between him and Tomiyasu, who I am so impressed with. Tomiyasu, I never thought he'd be this just solid. He just does a job. He defensively, he's rock solid. His passing's great. He covers for the centre backs. He could be a bit more offensive, and I think that'll come to his game. But he's just come into the league and just been comfortable. And there's been no comment. It's just oh, this guy's really bloody good. And I think our wing backs are really great. Lokonga I've been so happy with. Ben White, people were kind of slagging him a lot after the Brentford game, which I kind of get a bit. We were terrible, but the way he carries the ball out of midfield, out of defense, his passing range is insane. He's able to take the ball past someone. I think honestly, he's been great for us since that Brentford game. And it shows how mentally strong he is, because he got chewed out after that Brentford game. People were going hard at him. And I think he's just been outstanding. Gabriel is now one of the best centre-backs in the league. I don't care who you are. He is one of the best centre-backs in the league. And then we've got Saka, who just basically grabbed that game by the scruff of the neck, through like pure determination, got that first goal, and then we went on from there to win the game. But there's going to be one player I'm going to moan about, and it's Aubameyang.
I knew this was going to come.
Now, this guy, if he doesn't score, he does nothing else.
Yeah,
like if he doesn't score,
those players that if they don't score that goal, it's like
you don't notice them.
Yeah, the thing of the situation.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, Aubameyang missed an absolute sitter in the first half, like absolute sitter. He missed it, hit the post. I would rather play Lacazette because at least if Lacazette doesn't score, he's still like he presses, he tackles, he wins the ball back, he brings others into play, he does a job, right? And then he might get a goal. At this point, after the Martinelli finish, and Steve was right, after a fantastic ball from Tomiyasu, that Martinelli finish was beautiful. I would honestly now just play Martinelli up front as the striker and be like, right, that's what we're doing now. This team is all about youth, right? We'll bring Aubameyang on if we need a goal, but he's not like Ronaldo in a way. He's our best player, but he's not putting a shift in. So if he's not working the system and he's not doing anything else, why are we playing him? And I think his goal return hasn't been good enough to warrant him being in the team. So it's a difficult one because I love Aubameyang, but he's been absolutely woeful. He's been terrible.
He's also Arsenal, if they want to think about the future, I think that would be a nice relief for your books to get rid of that salary that he's got. I don't know how much money he's on, but I'm guessing quite a bit of money that Arsenal could easily do without. But Steve, with a hot take, Martinelli is being wasted. This is coming from our chat. Rory, I can see his veins in his brain just like pumping blood. What's going on, Rory? What do you think about this take?
I think I understand why people think that, but I also think Arteta is genuinely coaching him. He's coaching him like City did with Foden, right? And for ages, people were saying, why is he not playing? Why is he not playing? Why is he not playing? Then he comes into the team and he fits into the team. I think he's trying to coach Martinelli.
Who did Arteta work behind?
Yeah, exactly. I think maybe I'm being too generous to Arteta and maybe he is just wasting him, but I think he's trying to coach him into a position and get him a bit more disciplined, a bit more focused. And then we are going to have a hell of a player on our hands because that guy is so exciting. Like his finish was ridiculous. And every time he comes on, he seems to like either score, assist, or he affects the game like massively. His pace and his strength like terrify people.
Look, I'm going to say something that maybe doesn't make any sense, but you know me, Tommaso Adami, I tend to do that. But I don't really remember Martinelli's celebration. I did see the highlights. What was his celebration like for the goal?
I think he just ran over to his family in the crowd. He just went pretty mad. He went pretty mad.
Steve, in my experience, whenever like a player is not getting that many minutes and everything, all is about the celebration. If he scores and just like does a moany celebration, like it's sort of like a Balotelli type thing, then you should be worried and be like, this guy's being wasted. But if it's a nice celebration and you know he's not getting enough minutes, maybe he's gotten to the understanding that he's like, okay, I just need to put my shift in. He suffered a big injury last year, to remember. Yeah, you see? So maybe it's just a matter. And again, in the second half of the season, that can be, if he works hard in the first half of the season, that can be an extra weapon that you just bring in. And the other teams are not even expecting you to do that. So I don't know about, I'm sure Steve and Rory are more knowledgeable about the situation in Arsenal than I am. But to me, it's often about the celebration. Is it a polemical celebration? Is it a good, heartfelt celebration? It's all about that very often.
Well, after the game, he said, if I have to play 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm always going to be ready to play. I love the guy's attitude. Apparently, he's first on the training pitch, last one out. The guy fucking loves it. But I think that's enough Arsenal. Before we move on to Serie A, Tommy, we need to talk about...
Yeah, I was going down the league. First, one thing. Why was the Tottenham game postponed? Was it bad weather?
Oh, really, really bad snow. Really bad snow. Right. And the Tottenham fan that flew from Dallas. Now, this is 30 seconds, very quick. Flew from Dallas. The game was postponed, right? Harry Kane then offered him like, oh, next time you're at the stadium, I'll put you up as a guest. And then Twitter found a tweet from this guy saying, get Harry Kane out of the club. Our best performance has been when he wasn't on the pitch.
Holy shit, guys.
So good.
Tweets. You got to delete them after a bit. Come on. Sometimes you got to clean that shit up. It's like the old Facebook statuses.
I can't believe it's free.
But going down the table, we've got Wolves, who managed to draw 0-0 against Norwich. They're in 6th position, 1 point below Tottenham with 1 game in hand since they haven't played. Then we've got Manchester United. And then we're going to talk about Brighton. What the fuck? Rory, you told me this. I didn't know it. say what happened, and then I'll send a message to the Brighton fans.
We have seen the peak of Premier League fandom, right? This is spoiled, short-term memory fans who are booing one of the best coaches in the league, who has got them in 8th position, only 5 points off the top 4, is it? Yeah, 5 points off the top 4. They're in 8th, and they are Brighton. They are Brighton. Do I need to repeat that again? Brighton. When I was growing up, Crew Alex were playing Brighton, and they had skint on the front of their t-shirt because they were skint. They had zero money. This guy is doing a hell of a job. Yes, the form recently has been going down a little bit, but don't forget, you're still up there, right? You are in no danger of anything bad happening to you this season. You could comfortably get mid-table. I honestly cannot believe the fans booed him. And Graham Potter's response was fantastic, just where he said, I think I need a history lesson on this club because we're 8th. And he was absolutely right.
Look, and can I say one thing only? I'm looking at their results over the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's take that as a reference. Over the last 10 games, they've won 1, lost 2, and drawn all the rest. Yeah. Now, a draw is an annoying result, but a draw also came against Liverpool. 2-2, the same Liverpool that we were talking about earlier. They drew 2-2 on October 30th with goals by Mwepu and Trossard. And I mean,
they came from 2-0 down in that game as well, by the way.
Yeah. And they managed, they were eliminated in the Carabao Cup, but they still managed to draw 2-2 to Leicester. They drew 0-0 to a very good Arsenal side. They drew 1-1 to a pretty good Crystal Palace side. Mm-hmm. So guys, hold your fucking horses. As long as it's a joke that you're going to make the top 4, that you're going to play Champions League football, it's fine. But when you're still sitting above Leicester, Crystal Palace, Everton, Leeds, fucking be happy for what you have. And don't do this shit, because then this manager is going to leave after you booing him. And then what's next for the mighty seagull, the flightless seagull by now? But still, hey, I would rather take 1 point over 0 in any game, right?
It's ridiculous. And it's against the Leeds team that, again, okay, I think Leeds are in a bit of a false position. They will be fine. They've had big injuries. Their form is starting to pick up. Their performances are definitely picking up. I think a draw at home to Leeds is not a bad result. I just think, just remember where you've come from. And the managers that you had in the past, Chris Hughton, you complained because he was too negative and just concentrated on staying up. You finally got a manager who wants to play good, attacking, positive football, instill a mentality. It's going to take time. And if it's taking time whilst you're 8th in the table, you've got nothing to worry. You've got nothing to complain about. Nothing to complain about.
Absolutely nothing. Rory, before we move on to Serie A, we still have quite a few things to talk about also, because this week we've got midweek fixtures. Gerrard wins over Patrick Vieira. Do you want to say a few words about that? 2-1 away from home for Gerrard's Aston Villa. They managed to win 2-1. Goes by Target with a double T and McGinn. And then Gehi for Crystal Palace tried to put one in. He did, but that wasn't enough for Crystal Palace to come back. Few words about this one, Rory?
I took John McGinn out of my fantasy team and he sticks 1 top bins. That was annoying. Aston Villa looking renewed under Gerrard. Definitely got that new manager bounce. I said it, their wing backs are going to be key. And for the second game in a row, one of their wing backs scored, Matty Target. Great performance, defensively solid. He's kind of got Tyrone Mings back into good form again. It all seems pretty good at Aston Villa. Crystal Palace, I think it's going to be so up and down for them. I'm pretty gutted that Vieira lost, but Mark Guehi got 2 goals in 2 games from a centre-back, which is pretty mad. Crystal Palace will be fine. It's just an annoying result. And
also the Villains with 2 consecutive wins after the Gerrard appointment. But it's time to move on to Serie A before then we jump back to the Premier League to preview these midweek fixtures. Look, guys, time. Do you use this expression? Time is the tyrant. Is the tyrant? No.
Okay.
Time is tyrant, to say that we must stick to the time that we have. Well, time
is a master. I can't remember. Something
time
like
is a
that.
master.
It'll come to
something
me.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Sounds very BDSM, but fine.
Just how you like it, Tommy.
Yeah,
just how you like it.
That was me slapping myself, and I got a little excited. But we are going to thoroughly talk about this on our episode that we're going to record on Thursday because I just think that it's so exciting. But Juventus, ladies and gentlemen,
They've done it again.
Have
Why
you
do they
ever-
always cheat? Why
Have
do
you
they
ever
always cheat?
wondered why these guys are dressed like prisoners in the 1930s? Why are they wearing white and black stripes? No, it's not because of the Foot Locker clerks that dress the same way. Back in the day, used to be prisoners because these guys are thieves. Now, get at me, but fuck this shit. Juventus, I love how people are trying to downplay this. But basically, Juventus have been found guilty by one of the most annoying institutions in in the Italian judicial system, which is basically it's both Guardia di Finanza, who are the police that take care of fraud and that type of shit. And whenever GDF is involved, you want to pray to whoever God.
They do not stop. Not stop.
I will tell you one thing. So I work as a freelancer, most of my jobs, and so I have to do my own taxes every year. Like I'm fine. Like I even pay a guy to take care of my invoices and stuff. It's happened to me that I've dreamt that Guardia di Finanza would get to my house at night telling me, Tommaso, you haven't paid the taxes. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, Guardia di Finanza. And you wake up in a cold sweat. Now, the Juventus headquarters were stormed by Guardia di Finanza and the Consob. The Consob is this institution that takes care of fraud in business. So, for example, I was giving Rory the example of Mike. If I have a clothes shop and they say, look, buy these trousers, they're 50% off and they're 60 euros. Consob is that institution that makes sure that they're actually 50% off and they're not trying to scam the customers. What have Juventus done? We're going to go more in detail with this, but basically they have fixed their books with transfers with other players and other teams to make it seem like they were making more money than they actually were. How does a club make money? They, of course, make money by selling T-shirts. They, of course, make money with the attendance at the stadium, with merchandising, plenty of other things, but also with the purchase and the sale of players. Now, Juventus have fixed their books to make it seem like at the end of the year, they were making more money than they were supposed to. And there is already the argument going on that a lot of teams, in a way or the other, do it as well. Now, a lot of teams have done it, and I'm sure I don't have the details because I don't work for these institutions. But there are two problems. Juventus are found guilty of having tricked people into believing they had made 280 million euros out of 320, which were fake money. They were declaring that they had made that money when it was not actually true. What is the second problem? So this is not an 8 million euro transaction. It's 280 million fake money that is not existing. What is the big problem? Is that not all Italian teams are listed in the stock market. Roma, Lazio, and Juventus are. So you guys know more of finance than I do, but there is something wrong into making your stockholders, your shareholders believe that you're making more money than you actually are. It's fucked up. So right now there are rumors about Juventus, like the people who are managing the investigation. They said that what if Juventus are found guilty of these things, and now there are wiretaps coming out of actually the Juventus heads just talking very blatantly about fixing their books. If they were to be found guilty, this institution has already asked for them to be relegated and taken off their titles. What could this mean? That the second team in the Serie A, when they did this, would be awarded the Scudetto. And what team was it? Inter Milan. Ladies and gentlemen, how exciting would it be for Inter Milan to get the second star on their logo, which witnesses 20 league titles in a courthouse? I am all about it. It would be the second time that this happens in history. But we're going to be there with more details and probably a better explanation on Thursday/Friday. But it's time to talk about actual football. Shall we start from
quickly before we do? We were just reading that they found wiretaps apparently talking about secret payments to Cristiano Ronaldo regarding the transfer. So this isn't going anywhere. And the best thing is, Serie A Twitter this weekend has spent the whole time tearing each other apart as each club accuses every club of every transfer. Going, no, you were cheating more. No, this guy. No, that guy. It has been absolute drama. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Joe Spagnoli with the joke given by his Italian descent, a club that continues to employ Western. I put the ranch dressing on pizza McKennie were always going to be criminals, to be honest. They were criminals way before Western McKennie was born. I can't guarantee that. But look, this is insane. It's just like, I don't know if you guys are watching Amazon Prime's Juventus All or Nothing. Rory, have you finished it yet?
No, not yet. I need to finish it tonight. I'm watching it when we finish.
Good. The thing is that, look, of course I have a strong bias, but I would love impartial fans to watch it and tell me what they think about the club. Because whenever I watched the Tottenham, even the Tottenham special, the Manchester City special, the Sunderland special, you're like, this is like a big family. They're all fighting for the same cause, but there is a nice environment. At Juventus, it just feels everything is so tense, kind of. There are a lot of unspoken things. That was my feeling. Do you agree?
Yeah, there's a feeling. I think we talked about it and I said it feels sterile. And it feels like if you're the reason they're not winning, they'll quite happily just stab you in the back. If you fuck up, there's no like, okay, we can make you a better player. We can do this. It's just like, fuck you. This is Juventus. Leave. And it's like, whoa, like this is intense. How can that be like a healthy atmosphere? Honestly, we need to get Aaron Ramsey out of there, Tommy. Can we kidnap him and make him safe? I'm worried about him.
Make him the third in the pod. And also another takeaway, but then I promise we'll move on to football. If I was a suicidal, the last person that I would want come talk to me is Andrea Pirlo. The guy would probably trying to convince me not to kill myself. I would probably be like, you know what, bud? You've convinced me. I got to jump.
Me and you, Andrea. Let's go.
Let's go. Come with me, man. The least motivating guy on the planet, and also I love that he uses a lot of swear words, but kind of like whenever he uses it, he's like, "Did you see what I did there? I used a bad word." And you're just like, "What?" Yeah. And the team that keeps it. This is Steve Cole in the chat because we're live on Twitch and YouTube, just like every Monday. Steve Cole is saying, and also a team that keeps Rugani instead of Demiral and Romero. Man, yeah, all these transfers, I think they're going to be investigated. But talking about actual football, things are changing up top. But first, before I serenade myself with some Inter talk, we need to talk about Napoli. This Napoli team is looking dangerous. The Osimhen injury, as bad as it is, has made room. Politano is also out injured, but for Dries Mertens to come back. This player, last game against Inter Milan, he scored a banger, and that made him Napoli's top goal scorer ever in Serie A. Now he bags 2 in the opening minutes of the game against Lazio. And this guy, no matter how long he's out injured, no matter how much he's influenced by transfer talks, this guy always delivers. What did you think of the little dance that he did for the first goal?
Mate, his first goal was absolutely ridiculous. Like, this game it started and it was at breakneck speed. Like, Napoli were just running and Lazio just could not. They were still waking up. It was intense. And I think both the Mertens goals were the result of like massive passing moves. I think the last Mertens goal, every player in the team touched the ball, including Ospina. It was like Sarri ball was back, but with an edge. It feels like this team has been like almost throughout the managers, it's been like evolved. You know, where like some teams, if they change managers, it all ends up a bit of a mishmash. With this team, I think almost by accident, it's ended up with like Sarri and then characteristics of Ancelotti and now characteristics of Spalletti, and it's become this like whole new thing. And it's like this team look scary. That was a first half performance that was just like unbelievable. Mertens, what a player, 2 goals, and then Fabian at the end, right, with an absolute golazzo as well.
Man, yeah. This team, a lot of these players have been there under different managers, but what I think is very impressive is just Spalletti's tenure of the team. Now, as much as I have only respect for Luciano Spalletti, his football at Inter Milan had gotten pretty sterile and boring. It was always cross the ball in for Mauro Icardi. And I had a feeling that it was going to be the exact same thing with Osimhen in the team. That kind of like a target up front and the two wings just crossing in. This team is so much more than that. And actually, this 4-2-3-1 against Lazio, which, I mean, they're having an on and off season, but they're no mugs. They're not a terrible team. They made them look just like they didn't have anything to say in the game. And to do so against the Sarri, it's pretty big. Like, this is kind of the beast that he has created. And oh my God, am I looking at double digits on the views that we have on our live? We're at 10. Guys, you're fucking great. Let's go. But all Napoli fans. But no, Napoli 9. You see, I say it.
You jinxed it. You shouldn't have said anything.
God damn it. But look, and you were saying another thing that was very interesting off mic. Napoli came from 2 consecutive losses in Serie A against Inter Milan, their first of the season, and in the Europa League against the Spartak Moscow. What a way to come back. This is just a strong team mentality. 4-0 at home against the Lazio to consolidate at the top of the table. So Napoli, how far do you think you can go, Rory? Do you think they're Scudetto bound? Are they going to slip at some point?
I think they are going to be your biggest competition. I think that's the best way I can put it. I think, look, we were worried about how they deal without Osimhen and without Anguissa. They had neither last night, and they didn't seem that fussed. Koulibaly is going to be a big miss, but I think they're going to push you for it. I still think something will happen that will mean Napoli won't win it because it's Napoli, but I think they're going to push you all the way. You're right. I said before, after that loss, it was all about how they responded, and there's not a better way to respond. But we also have to say that Lazio against the big teams this year have been absolutely atrocious. They've not beaten any of the big teams. They even got battered 3-0 by Bologna, right? Like, they've been prone to these absolute nightmare kind of games, and I think this was one of them, mixed with Napoli just being absolutely on it. And the atmosphere in the Stadio Diego Maradona was unbelievable. That atmosphere was... Apparently, Boca Junior fans flew in for the game because it was the anniversary of
they unveiled the statue, and this is, look, they won 4-0 both last year, the first game after Maradona's death, and they won 4-0 again this year during the days that people were mourning the 1-year anniversary of Maradona's death. And about Lazio, they're now on 8th position on even points with Bologna, Fiorentina, and Juventus. We're going to get to there. But ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the season. Look, you know what? On the second year of the pod, I'm just going to be more outspoken about the things I think about. Because last year we were always like, it's kind of difficult to make a hot take because then maybe you're wrong. You know what? Fuck it. I said it this year. It would come the moment that AC Milan would be found out. And guess what? The train is arriving at the station. And they're finally realizing that they're not that killer of a team that they believe they are. This is the second consecutive loss in Serie A. So they were undefeated. They lose to a pretty good but still average Fiorentina side 4-3 in a game where they bagged the 3 goals in the dying minutes of the game. And then they win at Atletico Madrid, and then they lose against the Sassuolo. Now, Sassuolo are 12th behind Empoli on 18 points. They've lost 6 games this season. If AC Milan are really serious about winning the title, these are the games that you don't want to slip in. And it's not only one, it's also the other one against Fiorentina. Now, of course, I have an Inter bias, but whenever things are going a little south for Inter Milan, it's a fucking apocalypse. AC Milan have won 1 game over the last 5, and they haven't won at home in 1 month. Let that sink in. Now, I think that AC Milan, I said it since the beginning, they're flying on the wings of excitement. I confirm what I'm saying. I think it's a very good team on their day, but I cannot see them making a long, steady run without getting too cocky about it. I don't know what's your take, Rory.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Last season, they'd won the Scudetto by January, right? The fans were all claiming it, and they were all well ahead of it. And it feels like they've kind of done the same thing again this season. I think Milan, their defense looked pretty solid with Chiar and Tomori, but now Romagnoli's having to play, and that guy, his performance, what was it? A goal sent off and scored
No, and also he did the Jerome Boateng, guys. He did the Jerome Boateng fall.
That absolute just face
A little
plant.
round of applause for Rory's tweet with the picture of Romagnoli falling down. It says record scratch. Yes, that's me. You're probably thinking how I ended up in that situation. Now, Rory, one question about this game that Sassuolo won away from home in Milan. What was your favorite goal? Scamacca's or Berardi's?
Berardi, because I love that Berardi for Italy never does that, but for Sassuolo he does it all the time. That was a great goal. And he's an Inter fan, right? He said that he wants to play for Inter. His heart is with Inter.
That's Raspadori. That's Raspadori, the guy that assisted.
I thought I saw it for Berardi as well, but maybe I'll have to find it.
I think Berardi is actually an AC Milan fan, but we're gonna find out. And in third place we have, more convincing for sure, Inter Milan. We keep the second consecutive clean sheet away from a pretty good Venezia side. One thing, if I have to say one thing that I'm liking, one of the many things that I'm liking of the Inzaghi tenure is that we are shooting a shit ton in every game. This didn't come that often against with Conte. With Conte, it was more well-planned, well-thought type of shots. Something like you kind of draw up every shot that you're going to take in every half. Here, everything is more fast-flowing. It's better to look at, and it's more effective. 11 shots on target, man, you are going to score at least a bunch of those. Inter Milan with a very convincing performance. Some arguments about Lautaro Martinez being awarded a soft penalty, but look, the rule says that whenever you change the shape of your body and you enlarge it, no matter what happens, no matter where the ball has bounced, if you are making a bigger figure than you are, then at that point is a penalty. But the one player that I'm really, really happy for is Hakan Çalhanoğlu. He's back in form, in shape. That goal did not come out like he wasn't. I mean, you can shoot or you cannot shoot, but I think he's got a very strong confidence. And I don't know what he's got against AC Milan, but I just think he just really wanted to move and to prove what he's worth again. Now, Inter Milan, I keep thinking of that missed Lautaro penalty in the AC Milan game, in the derby, because right now we would be above AC Milan. But look, things are looking good at Inter. I'm very happy with Inzaghi's tenure, and I was reading, just because I have to shout out at them every single time, an article on Rivista Contrasti that said the beautiful silence of Simone Inzaghi. This is a man that simply does his job, simply cares about Inter Milan. He's not fazed by any transfer rumors, by any other pressure. And I think he's doing an incredible job for being his first year at Inter Milan with all the changes that we had to undergo over the summer. Again, over the last time we've lost the game was on October 16th against Lazio, and together with the game against Real Madrid, those have been the only losses that we've had this season. 2 losses on the first year for Inzaghi in the Inter bench. He's been doing better than Conte last year. Inter are third, followed by Atalanta, who defeat, for the first time in a very long time, Juventus away from home. There was a great, as always, post by Martin Deron on both Twitter and Instagram, where he said the last time we defeated Juventus away from home was ... Nope, I wasn't even born. There you go. Very nice win, despite it being a pretty open game. But man, Zapata, that shot, holy shit, he's got the defenders on him, and he takes the aim and just bags it in perfectly. We love a crossbar in. What did you make of the rest of the game? Because it was pretty close contested for some bits.
It was a very tight game. I just need to say, I know Arsenal's new thing is about getting new young players, but I just want Duvan Zapata. I want Zapata up front. Can we please sign him? I know we've got enough old strikers, but my God, he's amazing. For Juventus, right. Did people ever enjoy watching Allegri's football? Did people ever enjoy it?
Well, when it was a winning type of football, yes, they did. But right now that they're not winning, it's less...
atrocious. It is atrocious. I'm just looking through the stats here. It says 15 total shots, 13 chances created. I don't know how many of those shots were actually anywhere near the goal, or
Dybala had 1 or 2.
It seemed like Juventus were completely blunt up front and just spent most of the time passing it around their midfield, not really knowing what to do. Their midfield is really, really average, really super average. Locatelli had a few passes that just went to no one. Rabiot looks lost. Most of them just ended up getting booked because they were pissed off. It was just a really poor game. again, I tweeted it at the time, but around the stadium, they had signs that said, don't sit and watch. And I just thought, yeah, that seems like great advice, to be fair. Just fucking go home.
Don't sit and watch.
This is awful.
Just a quick little stat that Zapata has now bagged 9 goals and 3 assists in 12 games. It means that he contributed to a goal in every single game that he's played this season for Atalanta. While Juventus this season, they are already on as many as 5 losses. And last year, they had 6 total in the entire campaign. I think that a certain non-motivator named Andrea Pirlo is sitting down with a bag of popcorn and he's saying, you see, that club is shit. Like, it wasn't fully my fault.
He was, and we did a bit of it, but he was scapegoated hard. Like, I think that squad is nowhere near where it should be. Like, there's a lot of players where are just confusing transfers, like McKennie. He's actually one of the kind of higher scorers this year, but I'm still confused as to, I don't know what position he is, what his job is. I'm just a bit confused by it.
I think McKennie is having a pretty good season, and I think that in the game, he picked up an injury, but before the injury, he was one of the most lively players. And true, Steve is pointing out that Musso for Atalanta, the goalkeeper, he had 1 world-class save, I believe, on Dybala. True, but besides that, Atalanta didn't really risk anything.
But I feel like with McKennie, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just confused as to what role he plays. If you know what I mean, I'm confused as to what the system is around him or what he's meant to be doing. He just pops up with goals, and you're like, okay, this guy could be good. If there was any tactics around him, I don't know. It seems
it's what's happening with Chiesa as well. It's what's happening. He doesn't have a clear position now. He's just picked up an injury, Rory.
Until Christmas, man, out until the new year, and I am. Oh God, guys, I'm ruined in Fantacalcio. I'm in trouble, guys. I'm in trouble.
Did you see a certain Tommaso overtaking you this week?
Yeah, I'm in trouble. I lost 1-0 by 2 points.
Well, I have to say very quickly, my bit of fantasy football talk. I had a plan at the beginning of the year, which was Napoli's attack always works. I'm just gonna get all their strikers, and I got Osimhen, Mertens, and Lozano. And right now that Osimhen is out, I can play Mertens, Lozano, and if I want, Muriel up top for Atalanta. But it's not very clear what's going on with him and Gasperini because he didn't play the latest game.
Whereas, guys, I have Okereke from Venezia and Deulofeu from Udinese, so I am absolutely fucked.
Oops. Might want to look for the lineup with 1 striker only. But in other news, Tammy Abraham finally back on the score sheet. He was waiting for this moment for a very long time. They got a 1-0 win against a very good Turin side. Still the second best defense in Serie A. But besides that, they concede very little. But if you don't score a goal, buddy, you're going to lose games. So that's pretty bad to see for Torino. Fiorentina pick up a last-minute loss against Empoli. They were leading 1-0 thanks to a Vlahovic goal, guess, at the 57th. And then they ended up losing 2-1 at the 89th minute.
We need to talk about Pinamonti, man. This guy's good. This guy's really good. He's got 5 goals in Serie A now this season.
Let me check. But last year, so this summer, I worked in the mountains as he's got 5 goals and 1 assist in 13 games. And guess what team he plays for? Inter Milan.
Is he just on loan? Is he on loan?
He's on loan. He's on loan.
Good work.
You know, he comes from the small town close to where I used to live in the mountains this summer. And when it's a small town called the Cles, which is like pretty big for the valley where it is, but it's still pretty small place. And when you're driving and you take a big turn, and all of a sudden there is a massive picture of Pinamonti just staring like that. But you know why, dude? It's ridiculous. He's a millionaire, and he's a million. He made like last year. He had a crazy contract at Inter Milan, and he played like 4 games. But he's a millionaire, and in that area there are not many millionaires. And
he owns the whole village now, basically.
Man. In the valley, everybody knows him. They call him the arch. What do you call a person that shoots arrows? The archer of class for some reason. But yeah, he's having a great season. 5 goals already. Fiorentina's lip after having defeated AC Milan, and they're now on 6th position on even points with Lazio, Bologna, and Juventus. A very good win for Empoli, who are now 11th on 19 points. This team just came up from Serie B, and if you remember our episode with Luca, he said that Empoli were in Serie A to stay. So nice one right there. Venezia also out of the relegation zone despite the loss against Inter Milan. A very convincing win for Sampdoria. They defeat 3-1 the mighty Hellas Verona, who are sitting on 10th position, and things are not looking great for Genoa, who managed only a draw against Udinese, and Cagliari and Salernitana, boys, come on.
They're not even trying at this point, It's getting pretty bad.
A 1-1 draw, guys. This is boring. Come on, like you really want to sit with one win only in the entire league? It seems like it. But Rory, I'm just going to jump to the midweek fixtures because I need to find them. But the action starts again in Serie A tomorrow night. The first game that we are going to see is Atalanta versus Venezia at 6:30 Central European Time, together with Fiorentina Sampdoria. And at 8:45, we've got Hellas Verona Cagliari. And then, can Salernitana finally win their third game of the season against Juventus? We believe you can, boys. We believe you can. This would be the cherry on top. And maybe tomorrow also comes the news that Juventus are going to be relegated. And that would be dude, I'm going to throw a party if that happens.
See how many players stick with them this time. Not one of them is sticking with them in Serie B now.
On Wednesday, we've got Bologna-Roma, Inter-Spezia, both at 6:30 p.m. Central European Time. Genoa-Milan. Can Sheva put another nail on AC Milan's coffin? It's not really a coffin, but maybe it will become one. And that's Sassuolo-Napoli. Look, I don't know about this game.
Yeah,
I think that this game could be a tricky one for Napoli. I think they're going to come out winners, but if I was a betting man, I would bet on both teams to score in both halves. There you go. Nice. And then on Thursday, everything wraps up at 6:30 on Thursday with Torino, Empoli, and finally at 8:45, Lazio, Udinese. Can Sarri's man bounce back? But it's also midweek fixtures in the Premier League. What have we got, Rory?
It starts tomorrow with one of the biggest games. It is a huge game, and this is it's Newcastle are taking on Norwich City. Now, these are the two teams that are currently the bottom two in the league. Newcastle on 6 points, Norwich on 9. Norwich with 2 wins in the last 5. Newcastle still looking for their first win of the season. This is going to be my hot take, and it might not be that hot a take, but here we go. If Newcastle don't win this game, they're getting relegated. I think this will be such a big, if they win, it will be such a big springboard for them. And if they lose, it will be such a big drop that I think it's like they have to win this game, and I don't think they will. I think Norwich, since Dean Smith have taken over, they've won 2, drawn 1. That's another one of my students. 1-2, drawn 1, and they are actually looking like they're turning a corner. Newcastle look completely lost and in trouble. So that is tomorrow at 8:30. I cannot tell you how big that game is. Also, tomorrow night, we have Leeds United taking on Crystal Palace. Leeds looking to turn some of these performances into points. Crystal Palace looking to get back to winning ways after that disappointing loss at Aston Villa that we talked about. Then we've got a few intriguing games, kind of mid-table clashes. Southampton against Leicester, 2 teams that you definitely expect to be higher in the table. Southampton down in 15th, Leicester down in 10th. Like, both teams having very disappointing seasons, so they'll both be looking to take advantage of that. Then we have Wolves versus Burnley. These are all on Wednesday at 8:30. Watford versus Chelsea. Ranieri, after going back to his old club Leicester, is now going back to his old club Chelsea. This could be a difficult night for them. They got slapped 4-2 by Leicester midweek, and that United result definitely looks like a bit of a anomaly. Then we have West Ham taking on Brighton on Wednesday at 8:30 again. Brighton, honestly, for booing Graham Potter, I hope you lose. You deserve everything you get now, because how dare you boo that man?
Come on, guys. West Ham. You know we are a Brighton and Hove Albion pod. You can't do that to Graham.
No, I know, Potter. But don't. Honestly, I took it personally. It got me so angry.
It pisses us off. We're angry.
West Ham taking on Brighton. West Ham looking to get back into form, kind of wobbling a little bit after that Liverpool win. And Brighton definitely looking to get probably another draw, right? This has got draw written all over it. But the big game on Wednesday night, Everton versus Liverpool. Now, Everton, who are so bad, like so bad. They've not won in 7. They've conceded 13 and scored 4 off the top of my head. They are really bad. But
can pick for the break another Virgil van Dijk. We're going to find out tomorrow.
He's coming for that other knee, Virgil. He's coming for the other knee. This could be the game where Rafa gets sacked. I think if they lose this, Rafa might lose his job, and Everton fans might actually be hoping that Liverpool win this one because they are sick to death of Rafa and his boring ass football. That's at 9:15 on Wednesday. At the same time, we have Aston Villa taking on Man City. So Aston Villa much improved. Gerrard facing Guardiola, which sounds a bit mad to say, really.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I wonder if they've ever played against each other. Barcelona, Liverpool back in the day. Who knows?
Oh, I think they might just be different eras. They might just be different eras.
Yeah, just like for a matter of
years.
But
we'll look into it. Next episode, we'll come back with that one.
Yeah.
Aston Villa versus Man City on Wednesday at 9:15. Then Thursday night, we have Tottenham taking on Brentford at 8:30. And at 9:15, a game that I am actually shitting myself about, Manchester United versus Arsenal. They've not scored against us in the past 6 games. They've not beaten us since Ollie was in charge. No German manager has ever won his first game in the Premier League. It's all set up for Arsenal to lose. It's all set up for us to lose.
You guys don't want to miss our Friday episode because we're just going to record it right before the Arsenal-Manchester United game.
God, I'm going to be shitting myself. You know, this game gets in my head so much more than the Tottenham game. This game, it gets in my head.
Guys, we are going to see what happens. But Rory, I need to ask you before we say goodbye to our beautiful viewers and listeners, on the spot, final prediction: Man U, Arsenal.
I'm going to say 1-0. We fluke it 1-0.
No, I'm going to say 1-0 Arsenal. 1-0 Arsenal. Let's go. We are going to find out who is right next. During this week. Plenty of action. We're going to be back on Friday with our new episode. We're going to talk, of course, we're going to review the midweek fixtures. We're going to preview Arsenal and Man United with the latest news that we've got. And guys, it's an exciting time of the year. A lot of football. We're getting closer and closer to the AFCON as well. You know that our pod is going to be covered that thoroughly. We're going to become an AFCON/Anglo-Italian pod for 1 month. We're super excited about that. Plenty of things to talk about, but especially on Friday, we're going to take you a little bit deeper in the sickening Juventus world to find out
I can't wait.
Just how they've been cooking books. Guys, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Rory, anything to say before we go?
No, I really enjoyed it. I was able to talk positively about Arsenal and talk about Juventus cheating again. Life doesn't get any better.
And 10 listeners, double digits, ladies and gentlemen, 10 viewers, ladies and gentlemen. We've got that under our belts. Talk to you again on Friday. Cheers, Steve, Bryce, Ace X Gaming, and all the others that have joined us today. It's always a pleasure. Talk to you soon.